Good morning, dear students. Welcome to another session of Introduction to Data Structures and Algorithms. So, in previous discussion, we discussed regarding the operators and the expressions, and we discussed regarding arithmetic operators. So, few more other thing are there. We'll be discussing those operators also in this session. So we had started a discussion with operators and expressions, and we had discussed regarding arithmetic operators. So in continuation with the previous session, so next operator which we have is the assignment operator. So we have assignment operator which is represented by the symbol equal to, which is used to assign some values to the variables. So that is, and here you can see that we can write it, say A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 5. That example has been taken. So if I have to assign, say, any of the variable a value, so I can assign directly in this form where B is assigned the value of A, where A is also a variable, or we can have assignment which is of the kind B is equal to directly the value of 10. So even I can do this also. Directly I can take any number and assign it to the variable which is present on the left hand side. So this is an assignment operator. And if you just see here, only one operand is present on the right hand side. So it might be a constant over here or a variable over here. But what happens is, even you can have assignment in this way: B is equal to A plus A. So here you can see that you can assign any expression value to this variable using this assignment operator. Here we can see that A plus B is equal to 15. That is, this is, you are representing the arithmetic operation over here. But here what you're doing is you are assigning some value to the left hand side. So in this case, what happens is you can refer to this equal to sign or the equal to operator, which is called as assignment operator, as a binary operator. Now there is another way of assigning values to the left hand side of the variable, which is called as shorthand assignment. Now in this case, for example, I have an expression, say, in this form: B is equal to B plus A. So what is happening? B plus A value is evaluated, and then it is stored in this variable B. Now here you can see that B is present on the left hand side and also on the right hand side. So can I reduce this expression? So I can reduce this expression with the help of what we call as shorthand assignment. So in this, if you have any expression of this kind, what you do is you write it as B plus equal to A. What does this imply is, this will be written as B is equal to B plus A. B is equal to B plus A. So in this one, this expression will be evaluated and then the value will be stored. So this is how this operator will be operating. So it is called as shorthand assignment operator, which is represented in plus equal to. Even you can have minus also. So B minus equal to A, this is equal to, this should be equal to B, then B minus, and this operator. So it will be taking subtraction result and assigning it to B. So you have shorthand operators in C programming, so which will basically reduce the number of operands which are present on the right hand side only. That is the advantage of this. So next one, you have bitwise operator. Now what is meant by bitwise is, suppose you have say a decimal number. Say I have some four decimal numbers, 0, 1, 2, and 3. In my binary representation, we can represent this as this with 2 bits, 0, 0, this with bit 0 and 1, this as 1, 0, and this as 1, 1. So this is binary representation. So this is binary, this is its decimal representation. Now what happens is, suppose I want to perform some operation on the second bit of this number. Say this is the number what I'll consider. I want to perform some operation on the second bit of this number. So what is that operation? What has to be done or something? It depends on what logic you are looking out for. So then I have to go ahead with the bitwise operators. Say I want to make this bit 0 and I want to retain this bit as it is. I don't want to disturb this bit. So what I do is I take 0, 1. I don't want to disturb this bit. So what I'll do is I'll AND it with 1, 0. So this one is what I want to change this one to 0. When you AND 0 with anything, it will give you a bit 0. So here what happens? This will be 0. 0 ANDed with 1 is again 0. So what is happening? You can see that this bit has changed, whereas the other bit is retained as it is. It is retained as it is. Say I want to perform the same operation on this. I want to change this bit and I want to retain this bit. So it is 1, 1 ANDed with, so bitwise ANDed with this. So 1 ANDed with 0 is 0. 1 ANDed with 1 is 1. So this bit is retained. This one is altered. So if there might be some operations which require to be performed in this form, then in that case, what I do is I make use of the bitwise operator. So in this one, you can just observe that it is for AND, it is a single ampersand sign. For OR, it is a broken pipe, single broken pipe. For exclusive OR, it is a caret operator. For shift left, it is less than symbol twice. For shifting towards right, it is open, it is closed angle brackets, that is twice. This is open angle bracket, which will be placed 2 times. This is open angle bracket, which is placed 2 times. Then if you want complement or not of any of the bits, then you can use this negation operator, which is a tilde operator. So here the name itself tells that this one helps in the ANDing of the bits, this one ORing, this one performing the exclusive ORing. Then these for shifting operations, and these for complementing the bits. That is, if the bit is 0, complement of this one is 1, and if the bit is 1, complement of this one is 0. So as per say I'll just take 2 bits. So 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. So what happens when you're ANDing 2 bits? Say I'm just considering 2 bits. Say this is of A and this is of B. This is 1 bit of A and this is 1 bit of B, and I want the result of the bitwise operators. Say if I apply ANDing operation, what I'll be getting? 0 ANDed with anything is 0. Since both are, I'm just considering both are 1, 1 bit. Both are 1, 1 bit. So result also will be 1 bit. If it is A is 10 bit and B is 10 bit, then result also will be a 10 bit. So this is just to give you an representation of what is ANDing, ORing, exclusive OR. So only for that purpose, I have just taken this. So 0 ANDed with 1 is again 0, 1 ANDed with 0 is 0, 1 ANDed with 1 is 1. So if any of the bit is 0, right, the result of ANDing is 0. So similarly, we have the OR operator, that is, it is the broken pipe. So here OR operation, in this case, if any one of the bit is 1, the result is logic 1. So 0 and 0, the result is 0. 0 odd with 1 is 1. 1 odd with 0 is 1. And 1 odd with 1 is 1. Now last one, XOR, which is the caret operator. So it is like the first one is like 0 ANDed with 0. That is, I am writing A and B. Then next we had the OR operation. That is the for first bit I had just considered. So this one will be represented with 0 odd with this one. So it is like A odd with B. Then third one is A XOR with B. So if I just consider the first this thing, it is 0 caret 0. So for all bits, what it will be, XOR 0 XORed with 0 XORed with 0 is 0. 0 XORed with 1 is 1, and 1 XORed with 0 is 1, and 1 XORed with 1 is 0. So exclusive OR, what happens if the number of bits is odd? If the number of bit, that is logic 1, number of bit, that is logic 1, sorry, not the number of bits, it's the number of logic ones in a given sequence. If it is odd, then the result of XOR is 1, else it is 0. So this is with respect to the three logical operations. And this one, if you could just consider, you can just observe over here, that is, if you want to shift it towards left, so you have three zeros, 1 0 followed with 3 ones. So you have a 8-bit number over here. You want to shift it by how much? You want to shift it by 1 bit. This is what this indicates. So if you want to shift it by 1 bit, then this one will be equivalent to what? It will be equivalent to shifting 1 bit each this side. So here what happens is this bit goes off. So this will be there 0 0 1 0 1 1 1. And what about the last one? Last bit will be replaced with 0. Now similarly, if I rotate this towards the right, this is shifting right by 1 bit. So what happens is this bit goes off. You'll be left with, from this end, it will be 1 1 0 1 0 0 0, and 1 bit has gone out. This should be still 8 bits, so this will be 0. So this is the result. And last one, the complementing part. So in this one, all the bits will be complemented. 0 will be 1 and 1 will be 0. So that is what is represented over here. Now here you can see that these three operators require just a single operand to operate. Therefore, you classify it as a unary operator. Then apart from that, these require two operands to operate on them, or these operators utilize two operands. Therefore, this is classified under binary operator. Now next we have the increment and decrement operators. So these are unary operators. Why they are classified as unary operators is it just requires one operand. It just requires one operand. So we have two operators over here, that is increment and decrement. Increment is represented with double plus sign, and decrement is represented with double minus sign. So here, what does this do? Here we have, you can see that A is given as 10 and B is equal to 5. B is assigned with the value of plus A. So what is this operator doing is, when you're writing it as, say, for example, plus A, it is actually equal to A plus A. A plus 1. Sorry, it is writing equivalent to A plus 1. you increment this variable by 1. So similarly here you can see that b is equal to minus minus a. So we have minus minus a. This is equivalent to a minus 1. This is equal to a minus 1. Now here there are a few more things to identify. So here it is. Okay, I'll just give the hint over. So here you can observe that this plus plus which is there, right? I can write it before the variable. Even minus minus, I can write it before the variable. Also, I one second, one second, one second. So we were discussing regarding the increment and decrement operator, which are unary operators. So we can write this operator either before the variable, as shown here, or you can write it even after the variable. So here this is nothing but it is equal to writing like 1 plus a, and this is also like sorry 1 minus a. This is 1 minus a. This is 1 plus a. So when we write it after, this is also like incrementing a by 1, and if I write it as a minus minus minus, this is like decrementing a by 1. Now what is the difference between these two? What's the difference between these two? That is writing the operator before and writing the operator afterwards. Sorry. So this one is called as pre-increment operator, and this one sorry, pre-increment or pre-decrement operator, and this one is called as post-increment or decrement operator. So here this one is the post-increment or decrement operator. Now what is the difference with respect to this one? So pre-increment and post-increment. Now remember another important thing of increment and decrement operators is whenever you are performing this increment and decrement operator, if you're performing this increment and decrement operation using these operators, right? Suppose you are writing it as plus plus a. So actually this overall expression will be equivalent to a is equal to a incremented by 1. And even if you're writing a plus plus, the operation will be relevant to incrementing a by 1. Similarly, even for decrement operator. So this is pre and this is post increment operation what we are performing. So whenever we apply this operator on the variable, right, what happens is that increment operation result will be stored in this variable. Increment results also will be stored in this variable. Now what value will be assigned, that is what we have to look out for. So again I'm just repeating. So this is pre-increment, this is post-increment. Whenever you are using these increment or decrement operators, right, what happens is the values along with which you are writing the increment and decrement operators. Say if you're writing a plus plus a, what this will do is it will change value of a and it will store it in a. It will increment a by 1 and store this value in a, whether you perform it in post increment or pre increment or post increment. Even this will also do the same. It will increment a by 1 and then store it in a. So if a is equal to 10 in this case, right, after the execution a will be 11. So similarly, if a is equal to 10 here, after the execution a will be 11. Now another important thing to identify regarding the post and pre increment is So what's the difference between pre and post increment or decrement operation? So in pre increment, the name itself tells that suppose you are doing pre increment. So the name itself tells that you have to increment this first and then use it in the expression. Say here you have b is equal to a plus a. So in post I have this as a plus plus. Suppose I write the expression as b is equal to a plus plus, and say I have another expression in which I have b is equal to plus plus a. So I'll assume that both are different this thing. So here I'll consider a is equal to 10, and here also I'll consider a is equal to 10 before the execution of the step. So now what should be the value of b in this case? So whenever you are using say increment, which is post increment in its nature, what this does is this will assign b with the value of a first. A will be given a will a's value will be stored in b first, and then a will be incremented. A's value will be utilized first, and then a will be incremented. So if this is the expression, a is equal to 10. So therefore here what happens, b will be assigned a value of 10, and after you assign this thing, a will be incremented by 1, which will be 11. Now what about in this case? So in this case what happens is this is pre-increment. So in this expression it is pre-increment operation. So b will be assigned a value only after the a has incremented its value. So here what happens is first to increment the value of a and then assign the value of a to this one. So here what happens? So plus plus a will be executed. So here first a will be given the value of 11, and then that value of a will be stored in b. So b will be equal to 11 in this case. So this is one of the major differences between pre-increment and post-increment operations. So remember in this one what you're doing pre-increment, you increment first and then use the value. That is the incremented value you are using over here. Post increment is you first use the value and then increment it. So first use the value, it is related with the expression what I am talking. So in this case, you are using the value first and then you are incrementing the value of a. Here, what you're doing, you are first incrementing the value of a and then using that value in this expression. So that is what is happening in this case. So next one is the logical operators. So here previously you saw that bitwise operators had what single this thing what you had used, okay? But in next case, right, that is the logical operators. You can see that if I have to perform some logical operation, say I want to compare two numbers, whether the numbers are equal or not, whether they are so sorry, we have so even those are the operations which you will be performing. So here logical operations are related to the ANDing, ORing, and not of a given number. So what you're doing here is you are trying to compare these two results. So you are trying to see whether these two results are correct or not. So here the return value of this one will be either true or false. It will be either true or false. So these are used in say branching instructions or performing some other operations, say in the looping instructions. So they'll be utilized for those purposes. So when we go into those things, right, we'll have a look at these all things. And here you can see that this is a double ampersand symbol is used for, or double broken pipes are used for not, right? For this logical operation, what we are using the exclamatory mark. and these two operators require two operands. So therefore it is classified as binary, and this one just requires one operand, which is classified as unary. So here what you're doing is a is less than 20. If a is equal to 10, a less than 20. So this is true. This is one operator on the other end, and this one b greater than 6, that is false. So what you have, true on one end ended with false on the other. It is like one logically ended with 0. So what is the result of ANDing? ANDing is 0. So again the same rule holds, but what you're doing is you are comparing the expressions on the either side. You're comparing the expressions on the either side with some relational operators. This is a relational operator. So here you can see that this ampersand, double ampersand, what we are using, this AND operator, it requires two operands on the either sides. Two operands on the either side. So this what is this doing is it is checking whether this and this together are true or not. If both are true, then only it will return a true value. If any one of them is false, it will return a false value. So similarly in OR, if any one of these is true, right, it will return a true value. So it is like if any one of the bit is 1, it will return a logic 1. So that is how it does. So a is less than 20. Yes, this is true. Is b is greater than 6? This is false. But what happens is true odd with false will return a true value in this case. It will return a true value in this case. This true is nothing but equal to 1 as per a logical aspect. That is what they have represented. And false is nothing but it is represented as 0, logic 0. This is logic 1. So similarly, this one, whether not of a, that is not of 10, is less than 20. So not of 10 is less than 20. So it will return a 0 in this case. So what you have to do is first you have to negate this 10 value and see what is the result. So based on that result, you have to check out what is the return value. So this is with respect to logical operators. Next, you have the relational operators. You can have the relational operators to check whether a given variable is less than some other variable or less than any other number. So here you are checking whether a is less than 20. If this is correct, it will return true or false. That is logic 0 or 1. It will return either 0 or 1. So next you're checking less than equal to. Again, all these operators will be returning either less than either true or false. That is logical 1 or logical 0 respectively. So next one you have greater than. You're checking with this condition, that is a greater than 20. Then greater than equal to, this is the expression what is given. Then you're checking whether the two numbers are equal. Say whether a is equal to b. Since in this case a is not equal to b, then it will return a 0. Next one, not equal to condition, that is a not equal to b. So in this case it is true, therefore it will return a 1. So this is with respect to the relational operators. Now next one which comes is the special operators. Now under that you have one comma operator, size of operator, and operators which are used for pointer operation, that is pointer operators. Now here comma operator you might have utilized in multiple aspects, right? That is in printf, scanf, you put a comma and then take the numbers. So even that you have done. So here you can see that in this case, right, it is used to link the related expressions. Now here what this will do is, you can see that a is equal to 10, b is equal to 5, and c is equal to a minus b. And this entire thing is closed in the brackets, and x is assigned some value over there. So here what happens is, what is the value of C? Now since C programming is structured, right, after execution of the first one, the next line gets executed. So in this case, it will not be a problem, since we are separating these all with, if comma was not present, then what would happen is there would be difficulty in identifying that this is a separate line, this is a separate line, and this is a separate assignment, and this is a separate assignment. It would be difficult. So comma can be used to separate these kind of representations. So therefore what happens is, first A is assigned with 10, you see a comma, then after that what you have, B is equal to 5, B is assigned with 5, and then you have C, which is assigned the values A minus B. So that is 10 minus 5, which will assign you the value of 5. So the comma operator is also used inside the while and for loops. That is, if you remember, for loops, right? We write I is equal to 0, that is say index, and then we check whether I is less than equal to say 10. Suppose I want to add another condition over here, whether I is greater than equal to say some negative number minus 1. Then so two expressions together, if I want to combine, I can combine it using the comma operator in this for loop. So even in the while loop, right, even I can do the same thing. I can have the increment operator over here. So that is what I can do in the for loop with respect to the comma operators. So size of operators, it gives you the information regarding what is the size related to the data type. So for example, if A is an integer, say for example, if A is an integer, X is equal to size of A, it will give you the information related to what is the size of that A. So indirectly it will give you the what is the size of that integer. So in our case, I think we had considered it to be 16 bits. So it will give that information. So next we have the pointer operators, in which we have ampersand and star operators. So in coming forth this thing, right, we'll discuss regarding these operators in depth. So these are actually unary operators. These two are unary operators. This is a binary operator. Now here, if you just read ampersand A. So this is like address of A. This is like address of A. Star A implies that it is pointer to A. It is like pointer to A, that is value at A. So if I have to define some pointers, right? Say I want to define a pointer of the type integer. So what I do is I declare int and I want a pointer to this. What I do is I use the star pointer, star operator, star PA. So here what I am doing is I am assigning a variable PA which is of the type pointer. So the star gives me the information that this is a pointer. This is a pointer. And when you are using it in some other parts, right, so actually how you read it is, this one is like address of, you read it as address of whatever variable is there. Sometimes if you're using it in expressions, it will be like value at, say value at PA. So star, you can read it as value at. In this case, you are declaring a pointer. In this case, you are declaring a pointer. So if I have to assign address to this, what I can do is I can assign the address of A. So this is like you are assigning the address of A, ampersand A. That is what you are looking out for. When you're using it in expressions, right, you can read it in this form. So next one which comes is the conditional operator. Next one which comes is the conditional operator, which is denoted by a question mark and a colon. So this is the only ternary operator presently available in your C programming. So how do you how do you represent this? That is the syntax. So here what you do is, so here you can see that you have a comma and a colon. So you have conditional expression over here, then comma, then you can have an expression over here, colon, and then another expression. Now, how does this operate? So this will look through an example. So here you can see that you have a conditional expression which is given over here. And then after this conditional expression, you have a question mark, and then you have an expression which has only a variable a and a colon, then another expression, then another expression. So how you read this one, or how this one gets executed is, this expression is evaluated first. Say let us assume that a is equal to 10 and b is equal to 5. So what is 10 plus 5? It is 15. Is 15 greater than 10? So this one is true. This one is true. So what happens is, if this expression, that is this conditional expression, evaluates to true, then this one will be utilized. This one will be utilized. If this evaluates to false, if this evaluates to false, then this expression will be utilized. So what will be happening is, now in this case, this expression is true. So what happens is, whatever expression is there in this part will be executed, and that will be utilized, and that will be assigned to C over here. So since this is true, what happens is, C will be assigned with the value of 10. C will be assigned with the value of 10, since this expression is true. Now I'll consider the other condition. Say a is equal to 1 and b is equal to 2. So the result of this one is what? 3. Is 3 greater than 10 as per the expression? So it is false. So if it is false, right, what will happen is, this part will be evaluated. That is, this expression will be evaluated, and that will be assigned to C. So in this case, what happens is, C will be assigned with the value of B, since you are not providing any expression over there. So this is what happens when you're dealing with conditional operator. Suppose I'll just keep on simple this thing. A is equal to, whether a is greater than, say, some number 5, then I have the condition. If this is true, then what you do is, you evaluate this expression. If this is false, then you assign this operation. This is what you do. Say for example, I have a is equal to 1 and b is equal to 2. So what I'm doing is, so I'll just check. 1, it is greater than 5. No, it is actually false. So if it is false, what happens is, this expression has to be evaluated. This expression has to be evaluated. So what is this? It is 1 minus 2, which is equal to minus 1. It is equal to minus 1. So what happens is, under this condition, C will be assigned a value of minus 1. Now I'll take another condition over here. A is equal to 1 and B is equal to 5. So as per this expression, right, 1 plus 5 is what? Sorry, I'll take this one as 7. So here what we have, 7 is greater than 5. Yes, it is true. Therefore, what happens is, now this expression will be evaluated. This expression will be evaluated. What you will be having? 7 plus 5, which is 12. So this will be evaluated, and C will be assigned a value of this expression, that is 12. So this is what will be happening when you're utilizing the conditional operator. This expression will be evaluated. This conditional expression will be evaluated. If it is true, expression 1 will be evaluated and utilized. That is this part. If it is false, then this one will be evaluated and utilized. So that is what is happening in conditional operators. So next we have the precedence rules. So for example, in many conditions, right, it might so happen that you might have something like plus plus a, then plus b, then multiplied with d, then you might have a division operation with e. So you can have all the operators together. You can have all the operators together depending on the correct expression what you provide. So you can have these operators. So you can, it can come in any of these things. So here when you're evaluating such kind of expressions, right, precedence of the operators has to be looked in. So without that, here I cannot directly tell that plus plus operator will be executed at the first. I have to look in for the precedence level, and then I have to see which one gets executed first. So one is the BODMAS rule, what you have to remember. So bracket, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. So that is what you have to remember. Then you can look out for, so brackets will be evaluated first. If you have a bracket right here somewhere, so first this expression will be evaluated. So precedence, actually the first one is for the brackets. If you have a bracket in the expression, right, those bracket, this thing will be executed first, and then you continue with all these. So here what you have, you can see that the highest precedence level is given for this minus symbol, increment operator, decrement operator, say this is the not operator, and the size of operator. So these are the precedence level. This is the highest level, and the lowest one will be the comma. Lowest one will be the comma. So remember, if you're having an increment operator, if you're having a multiplication, division, and modulo operator, so these will be evaluated in this given sequence. If you have all these, and only one addition which is there, it is brackets.